little lady. Wally. Irie. Pazing. Wally Pazing. I don't want to see your butt. Hello, guys. Are you guys little Wally? Come. Hi, Irie. Are you a little girl?
She's a little lady.
All right, I lured you in with a little video of my two poochies. Talking about dogs, it's the dog days of summer and it is hot out here. I think it's about 90 degrees. As soon as I'm done filming this video, I'm gonna jump in the pool. So, I wanna talk to you about something that I'm seeing and kind of following.
Why are you running?
A string of videos I've done on where I'm seeing the market going. If you were paying attention, recently there's been kind of like a public feud between Jerome Powell and the president. They're really going at each other, probably to the detriment of both of their causes. I think Trump could probably be approaching a little softer approach to get more of what he wants from Jerome Powell. That being said, you know, Jerome Powell really has it in for the president, and my opinion, which is shared by many people, he's probably letting that cloud his judgment on dropping interest rates. I'm going to tell you this. Recently, Jerome Powell was in front of Congress, and if you notice his tone, it was much softer and really leaving the possibility open of some rate cuts. When you listen to him just a few days ago, he was saying basically, we think tariffs, the continued tariffs could be inflationary, and they could cause transitory inflation. The only real way to cause inflation, it's a math problem. When you print too many dollars, those dollars go to the same number of products, and there's just more dollars associated to every product. It's a degradation in the purchasing power of the dollar. So what the market is showing is that he's probably going to be on the wrong side of that argument. The reason being is when you look at the housing numbers, housing sales are really down. In real dollars, you know, even though maybe a house went up 1% in value, if you had 2 or 3% inflation, that house in real dollars lost 2% of its value this last year. So we're really seeing this dramatic slowdown in housing, and not just housing, but other areas of the economy. Now, it's not this crash. It's not this crash that everyone was expecting. It's a soft landing, or maybe we'll see a mild recession in the next quarter or two. I don't foresee anything like 2008 where the system blows up unless there's a wild card coming in. But all around the world, Federal Reserves and their equivalents in countries are cutting interest rates, and we're like the last one not doing that. And I really do think the powers that be in the Fed, I really think they hate the administration, and they're letting that possibly cloud their judgment, because the more they persist on that path, the more they will slow down our economy, the worse the recession will be, the more they'll be proven wrong. So I have a feeling after the commentary that Jerome Powell, that maybe a few people have talked to him, he kind of sees the writing on the wall. Hey, things are really slowing down. Let's start taking a look at dropping rates, because this is what's happening. The market already is dropping rates. Mortgage rates and treasury bonds are down 0.2% just in like the last week or 10 days. And if you look at the graph, it's getting steeper and steeper. So what does this mean if you're in the housing market right now? Well, if you're regretfully in the kind of, maybe you're making $80,000 a year, and you got a family, you're living paycheck to paycheck and paying for kids, soccer, it's hard to take advantage of this market right now. Maybe you have a 4% interest rate, can't move, and regretfully that's true, and I'm not going to try to sugarcoat that. However, if you are a buyer right now and you've got some reserves, maybe it's a second home or investment or a beach home, or you have a lot of equity and you don't need to quite sell right now to buy something, but you might want to sell in the next 6 months, it's a prime time to take advantage of this market. The reason being, a lot of sellers they're a little bit in despair. Their house has been on the market. They've been dropping their prices. You know, buyers are being very selective. Our buyers right now are picking up great bargains. We'll put in an offer. It'll be a few $100,000 lower on some properties. And then the seller will just say, you know, it's just not worth it. I might just take it off the market. However, when you put in that really kind of like aggressive offer on a seller who really does need to sell, or maybe they've made so much money that if they make 100, 200 grand, they've owned the house since 1995, you know, they bought it for 200,000, it's 1.6 million now. They just want the off ramp. They want to cash in and put that equity to use somewhere else. You can take great advantage of this situation right now. But here's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a lot of people jump in now. We always see what happens well before you watch it on MSNBC, CNN, Fox News, Fox Business. By the time you read it, that information's 3 months old. We see it on the street. We're out putting large contracts together right now. A lot of them are discounted. If this rate environment continues to drop, here's what we're going to see. The inventory in the upper echelons is not, you know, on Isle of Palms at its lowest, we had like 28 homes for sale during the highest point of COVID. These are just single family homes. Maybe like, they were like 69, but it's down to like 61. That inventory can burn off really quickly, and we can quickly go from a buyer's market to a neutral, or even a somewhat of a seller's market again, because it doesn't take that long for 30 houses to sell. Now, let's go to Somerville. There are thousands of homes for sale in Somerville. A lot of the tract builders are out there, the D.R. Hortons, the Lennars, and they've built so many homes there that they're almost kind of competing against themselves and competing against existing home sellers. And it's going to take longer for that inventory to burn off. And that's just the reality. So what happens in a recession, as you know, the market, as the economy slows down, governments, feds, or their equivalents around the world will cut rates. That's already been going on all over the world. Our Fed is like the last holdout of not cutting rates. So what happens when rates cut, if you're like kind of living paycheck to paycheck to put money on the table, kid through college, kids in soccer, violin lessons, and you don't have much left over at the end of the month, it's hard to take advantage of lower interest rates in a recession. But if you've got reserves, or maybe you own a business, or you know, you've got extra cash flow every month that you can play with, you can really leverage that. What that means, however, is that the inventory that you're playing with, like the Isles of Palms, the Mount Pleasants, Daniel Islands, that inventory can quickly burn off. And again, right now is a great time where it still feels like a complete, we're probably at the peak of the buyer's market right now, but if interest rates keep coming down and accelerate like we're seeing, the acceleration means the market, the smart money, Wall Street, the bond traders, they feel like rates are going to come down and the Fed is eventually going to capitulate. And then again, I told you earlier this year, Barry Habib, who's probably the best interest rate prognosticator, he sees rates getting down to 5.9, 6.1 by the end of the year. I was kind of having doubts, and I think maybe he was as well. But if we see like 0.2% in a week to 10 days, I would not be surprised. It really does seem that once our rates get below 6.5, 6.3, 6.25, 6, below 6, it's going to open up a floodgate, and we're going to see that market transition to neutral, but probably more the higher you go of a seller's market. So my advice, if you are looking to buy something, try to take advantage of this market. You'll never time it perfectly. And I'm not telling you this is the perfect time to do it, because no one is that smart. And, you know, an asteroid can hit us from outer space and change everything, including the trajectory of the Earth. So, but I would try to take advantage of this market if you have the means. If you were to put a house under contract now and you're using financing, there is a great chance by the time you're closing, especially if you float that rate down, you could be a few tenths of a percentage point lower than you are now. If you're looking at selling, you're like, geez, I'm not going to put my house on the market right now. I would not be surprised if this market, especially in the upper echelons, starts gradually shifting back to neutral or a slightly seller's market. And just remember, we view this market as bad, but if you bought your house in 2005, 2005 or 2011, 12, your house may have doubled, tripled in value. So if you've gone from an $800,000 house to a $2.2 million house, and maybe it was 2.3 last year, or it was 2.2 last year and it's the same price this year, which after inflation is like a little bit of a, you know, a lower price in real after inflation dollars. It's still, I mean, you've made such a huge run up, especially during COVID, but we might really start to see this market transition much faster. I've been through a lot of these before. Be careful of who you listen to. Don't listen to the newscaster. They've all got journalism degrees. No offense. I've met a bunch of these guys. You want to listen to the people they interview, and you want to see the movement on Wall Street. What are the traders doing? What are the bond traders doing? What are other nations, what are their reserve banking systems doing? They're all cutting rates. The writing's on the wall, probably slowing down here. Maybe a soft landing, maybe it's a recession, and maybe a soft landing here in Charleston and a recession in Chicago. Who knows, or vice versa. So, but definitely we see this slowing down. There is an opportunity right now as a buyer. Can never time it perfectly, but try to get the best deal you can right now. And as a seller, there's a real light at the table, at the end of the tunnel here, where you might see that you can put your house on the market and really take advantage of these historically high prices. Even if we might be 1 or 2% lower than we were last year, it's still historically high prices. So I hope this information was helpful. If you have any comments, there's a topic you'd like me to review, feel free to put it in the comments below. Do you know that about 70% of the people that watch this video aren't subscribed to the channel? So if you find this information helpful, or even if you think it's just a little funny, hit the like and subscribe button, and by all means leave a comment if there's a topic in the Charleston real estate market you'd like me to cover.